Moving on to the Currie Cup, possibly a bit of a sideshow this weekend, but nonetheless, we have a huge domestic rugby following. Rob?
Yeah, this all of the games actually are important. It's good that the Currie Cup this year, generally speaking, is quite pleasingly strength versus strength. For instance, there's not a particularly glamorous game on paper between Griquas and the Pumas, but Griquas have just come off an away win against the Sharks. The Pumas, as we know, are riding surprisingly high. So in fact, it's a pretty good matchup. But let's face it, of course, the main game of the weekend, undoubtedly third place Lions at home to the sort of almost runaway leaders, Western Province. If Province gets yet another win and go 6 out of 6, they're looking so pretty for the. They're virtually guaranteed a semi-final spot already, aren't they? And then it's just about that, the key battle for that 1 and 2 slot for the home semis and rights to a home final. I must say at this stage, Western Province looking reasonably unstoppable, but they've still got a few tricky games ahead of them, and this is certainly one of them. We know that the Lions have got a little bit of a hold over them at Ellis Park, and there's a few injuries with Western Province. There's been issues about Cheslin Colby. Sanatla's still out, which is problematic for them. It's taken away a lot of the sting from their sort of very potent back three. And in the pack, Reynard Elstad has been suspended for 3 weeks, which is a little bit of an issue because they were hoping to do a little bit of rotation among the loose forwards. Having said that, you've still got your sort of Kolisi, Rhodes and Carr combination, which has served them very well all season so far anyway. But I think they were hoping to just perhaps shake things up a little bit and provide a little bit of refreshment for one or two of them. But the Lions have lost Derek Minnie, for instance, so they've also been a bit affected in that area. I suppose I'm leaning a little bit towards Western Province in a very tight game, but the Lions could easily win this one.
Yeah. Garen, of course, like the dynamics change in the Currie Cup, from Super Rugby with a lot of the players going off to the Springboks, and guys get excited about their team doing well, but it's not really exactly a true reflection of the strength and depth of a particular province or franchise.
Yeah, and for the last couple of years, the Springboks haven't really played much part in the Currie Cup. They only sort of return for those playoff matches, semi-finals and the finals, which always makes me think that a team like the Golden Lions, who don't have many Springboks as it is, they pretty much take their Super Rugby side, put them in the Currie Cup, and they've done really, really well in the last couple of years. So there aren't too many disruptions there. And I still expect the Lions to be there in the semi-finals when all is said and done. But I agree with Rob this week, and I think Western Province are going to be too good for the Lions. The Lions coming off a defeat against the Blue Bulls. I do think it's going to be close. I wouldn't be surprised if the Lions pick up a bonus point. But the Western Province team flying high at the top of the log. Now we're heading into the sort of the second half of the season. We've played 5, got 5 to go. It's a really strange format for this year's Currie Cup. They're actually drawn in 2 pools of 4 teams. You play everyone in your own pool, home and away, so that's 6 games, and then you play everyone else once, 2 home, 2 away, so that gives you the 10 games. So this is the final game of each pool's home and away matches, if that makes sense. So if you look at the Western Province Golden Lions, Blue Bulls, EP Kings group, on paper it's far, far stronger than the Pumas, Griquas, Free State Cheetahs and Sharks group. So once Western Province and the Lions have played each other, then they've got these home and away games against the other teams, which on paper aren't as tricky as their home games. But on the flip side, if you look at a team like the Sharks, who are really struggling, at the moment, they're in 4th spot. They've still got to play the Cheetahs in their final sort of group match. Then they've got to play Western Province, the Blue Bulls, the Lions, and the EP Kings. I've got this funny, sneaky feeling that unless they really, really improve, and they're not getting any of their Springboks back, that they could miss out. They've by far got the toughest remaining matches, if you like, and they've been pretty woeful, both home and away this season. Losing to the Pumas, losing to Griquas, teams that you never ever in the past would have dreamt of them, falling short against. So, a little bit of a worry in Durban. I've read reports that they're going to have to really pull finger, for want of a better description, to make these playoffs. And considering they are the defending champions, it's not been the best defense of their title to date.
Yeah. I mean, Rob, this weekend the Sharks, really struggling, playing probably their bogey side, the Cheetahs, in Bloemfontein. I mean, it's just doesn't get easier for them.
Yeah, it's a tricky one, especially as the Cheetahs are just showing a few signs of getting things together again, slowly sort of rebuilding a side after lots of personnel changes at the end of Super Rugby, lots of departures from Bloemfontein. But as so often happens in the Free State, they somehow do manage to keep unearthing players from underneath until they become so good that they get poached by somebody else anyway. But for the moment, they're on that little bit of a sort of a rebound. Very tricky game to call, actually, Cheetahs Sharks. because Sharks also are going to be a bit bruised after what happened against Griquas. So I think they're going to play with quite a lot of passion and urgency in Bloemfontein. I think the Sharks might just get over the line, but they're not playing particularly well, and they've got 2 away games on the trot that could be very important, as Garen said, to their quest to just make the semi-finals. I think that's got to become their sort of revised goal at this stage. Never mind any thoughts of sort of topping the log, unless some miracle occurs over the last few games. But this next 2 weeks, which is Cheetahs away, and then I think they've got the Blue Bulls away in quick succession. If they were to lose both of those games on the road, which let's face it is possible given their current predicament and their sort of lack of a really energetic sort of game plan, worrying times for them. But I've got a feeling that they might just leave a smile on their fans' faces after this weekend.
And I mean, the Bulls probably a guaranteed 5 points against the Kings, and God knows they need those 5 points. No.
Yeah, look, the Bulls, this will be their first away win of the season, so I expect them to pick up the 5 points in Port Elizabeth. The poor Kings, they haven't won a game yet. It's not going to happen this weekend, I don't think. They're really, really struggling at the moment, which is sad. I expected them to do far, far better, certainly better than the Pumas and Griquas this season, but it hasn't been the case, and they're definite wooden spoon candidates at this stage. So I expect the Bulls to pick up the 5 points, continue their winning momentum, move up the log, which makes that Free State Cheetahs Sharks game so important, because there's going to be a winner there, whoever it is. The Bulls are going to close the gap on the team that loses in Bloemfontein. So more pressure on the Cheetahs and the Sharks. So exciting times in the Currie Cup. It's nice that sort of anyone can beat anyone, no matter whether it's home and away at the moment.
Unless we forget the Pumas this week, the season sort of surprise package, they showed that they can win away from home.
Yes,
so
they have.
Taking on the Griquas.
Yeah, but that could be just a bit of a banana peel game for them, because it's just possible that the Pumas, having knocked over so many sort of bigger sides, might just be a little bit sort of, I won't say undermotivated, but perhaps just a little hint of complacency. As much as Jimmy Stonehouse will try to bash that out of them, as he generally does quite well, you might just find that they go there with a little bit of a swagger. And we know that Kimberley can be, on that rock-hard pitch, can be a sort of a graveyard for a lot of teams. And with Griquas having come off a win in Durban, which was really a fabulous way to ignite their season. That was their first win, wasn't it, for Griquas? So they're going to be in pretty good fettle, and they'll be thinking, hang on, we can actually knock over these upstarts who are sort of riding way higher than us on the log. I'm not saying it will happen. I think perhaps the Pumas might just edge it, but I think Griquas will give them a real scrap.